My brother Tyler's words hit me like a slap across the face. The champagne glass trembled in my hand. Around us, 50 guests at his housewarming party suddenly went quiet. I stared at him. What's that supposed to mean? Tyler's smile was sharp as broken glass. Oh, you'll find out soon enough. My name is Jake Morrison. I'm 34 years old. I work construction, same company for 12 years. I pay my bills on time. I visit mom every Sunday. I thought I knew my family. I was wrong. The party was in Tyler's new downtown loft, exposed brick walls, floor-to-ceiling windows, the kind of place that costs more per month than I make in 3. Tyler worked in tech, always had money, always had everything easy, but tonight felt different, wrong somehow. Tyler clinked his glass with a silver spoon. The sound cut through the room like a blade. Everyone, can I have your attention, please? The crowd turned toward him, friends, family, co-workers. Mom stood near the kitchen, her face pale. Dad shifted uncomfortably by the window. I wanted to share some wonderful news with all of you tonight. My stomach dropped. Something in his tone made my skin crawl. As you know, we lost our beloved grandfather 6 months ago. Murmurs of sympathy rippled through the room. I felt a familiar ache in my chest. Grandpa Joe had been my hero, my mentor, the man who taught me how to swing a hammer, how to be honest, how to stand up for what's right. Well, the will has finally been settled. Tyler's eyes found mine across the room. They were cold, predatory. And I'm thrilled to announce that Grandpa left me his vacation home in Lake Tahoe. The room erupted in congratulations. People clapped. Someone whistled. I felt like I was drowning. The vacation home, our sanctuary, the place where Grandpa and I had spent every summer since I was 8 years old, where he taught me to fish, where we built that treehouse with our bare hands, where he told me stories about the war, about life, about being the good man. Tyler had visited maybe 5 times in his entire life. I caught Mom's eye. She looked away quickly, too quickly. My hands were shaking now. I set down my glass before I dropped it. Tyler wasn't finished. I know Grandpa would want the family to enjoy it together. So you're all invited for the 4th of July weekend. More applause, more smiles. I wanted to scream. Someone slapped my back. Lucky family, huh, Jake? That place must be worth a fortune. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The room felt like it was spinning. Tyler appeared beside me. His hand landed on my shoulder like a weight. Isn't it amazing, brother? I mean, I never expected it, but I guess Grandpa saw something in me. I found my voice. It came out as a whisper. He promised me that house. Tyler's eyebrows shot up. Promised? That's a strong word, Jake. Did you get that in writing? The mockery in his tone was unmistakable. Several people nearby turned to listen. You know I didn't, but he told me 100 times. Said it would be mine someday. Well, I guess someday came and went. Tyler shrugged. Look, I'm sorry you're disappointed, but the will is the will. Legal documents don't lie. I felt heat rising in my chest. This is wrong, Tyler. You know it's wrong. What's wrong is making a scene at my party. His voice dropped low. Dangerous. Maybe you should go home and sleep it off. The crowd was watching now. Whispers started spreading like wildfire. I could feel their judgment, their pity. I looked around the room for support, for someone who knew the truth. Dad was studying his shoes. Mom had disappeared entirely. I was alone. Fine. I grabbed my jacket from the couch. Congratulations, Tyler. I hope you enjoy it. Oh, I will. Trust me on that. I walked toward the door. Each step felt like walking through quicksand. Jake, wait. I turned back. For a split second, I thought Tyler might show some decency, some remorse. Instead, he held up his phone. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I'll be posting lots of photos from the lake house. You know, for memories. The laughter that followed me out the door was like acid in my ears. I sat in my truck for 20 minutes, just breathing, just trying to process what had happened. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. I'm sorry, honey. Come by tomorrow. We need to talk. Sorry. She was sorry. Like that would bring Grandpa back. Like that would undo 30 years of promises. I drove home to my 1-bedroom apartment. The place felt smaller than usual, cheaper, more pathetic. I pulled out a beer and sat on my couch. The silence was deafening. On my coffee table sat a photo of Grandpa and me from last summer. We were standing on the dock at the lake house, his arm around my shoulders, both of us grinning like idiots. "This will all be yours someday, Jake," he'd said that day. "You're the one who loves it. You're the one who understands what it means." I picked up the photo, studied his weathered face, his kind eyes. "What happened, Grandpa? What the hell happened?" The next morning, I drove to Mom's house. She was waiting on the porch with coffee and red eyes. "You've been crying," I said. "Sit down, Jake." I sat. The porch swing creaked under my weight. Grandpa had built this swing 30 years ago. "Tell me the truth, Mom, all of it." She took a shaky breath. "Tyler came to see your grandfather 3 weeks before he died." My blood turned to ice. "What do you mean?" "Grandpa was in the hospital. You were working that big project in Sacramento. You couldn't visit as much." I remembered. A commercial building that kept me away for 2 weeks. I'd hated every minute of it. Tyler showed up with some lawyer, said he was worried about Grandpa's estate planning. Estate planning. The words tasted like poison. "Grandpa was on a lot of medication, honey. He wasn't always clear. Tyler convinced him to update his will." I stood up so fast the swing nearly flipped over. "Are you telling me Tyler manipulated a dying old man?" "I don't know, maybe. I wasn't there." "But you suspected." Mom's silence was answer enough. "Why didn't you stop it? Why didn't you call me?" "I tried to talk to your father. He said it wasn't our business. Said Tyler was just being responsible." "Responsible?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Tyler, who hasn't had a real conversation with Grandpa in 5 years. Tyler, who called the lake house a money pit last Christmas." "I know, sweetheart, I know. Do you have a copy of the will?" "Tyler has the only copy. His lawyer handled everything." "Of course he did. Tyler always covered his tracks." I kissed Mom's forehead and left. I had work to do. The next stop was Grandpa's old lawyer, Bill Henderson. He'd handled the family's legal stuff for decades. Bill's office was in an old brick building downtown, the kind of place that smelled like leather and wisdom. "Jake Morrison." Bill stood up when I walked in. "I was wondering when I'd see you." "You heard about the will?" "I heard Tyler got the lake house. I was surprised." "Surprised enough to help me?" Bill gestured to a chair. "What do you want to know?" "Did you handle Grandpa's final will?" "No, Tyler brought in some hotshot from the city. Said your grandfather wanted fresh eyes on his estate." "That's convenient." "Jake, I'm going to tell you something in confidence. Your grandfather came to see me 6 months before he died. Wanted to make sure his will was ironclad. Specifically mentioned leaving you the lake house." My heart hammered against my ribs. "Do you have documentation?" "I have notes from our meeting, but they're not legally binding. Tyler's will is the one that matters now. Unless we can prove fraud." Bill leaned back in his chair. "That's a serious accusation, and a hard one to prove." "But possible?" "Possible. You'd need evidence that your grandfather was coerced or mentally incompetent when he signed." "How do I get that evidence?" "Hospital records, witness their testimony, security footage if it exists." Bill paused. "It won't be easy, Jake, or cheap. I don't care about easy, and I'll figure out the money." Bill nodded slowly. "I'll help you. Your grandfather was a good man. If someone took advantage of him, they should pay." I left Bill's office with a plan and a fire in my belly. First stop, the hospital. I explained the situation to the records department. They couldn't give me Grandpa's medical files, but they confirmed he'd been on heavy pain medication during his final weeks. "Morphine mostly," the nurse told me. "It can cause confusion, especially in elderly patients." Next, I tracked down Grandpa's doctor, Dr. Sarah Chen. She agreed to meet me for coffee. "Your grandfather was a fighter," she said, "but those last few weeks were rough. The medication made him disoriented sometimes." "Disoriented enough to make poor decisions?" Dr. Chen chose her words carefully. "I wouldn't recommend making major legal decisions while on that level of pain management." "Would you testify to that?" "If it came to court, yes. Your grandfather trusted you, Jake. He talked about you constantly." The pieces were falling into place. but I needed more. I spent the next week digging, called every hospital employee who might have seen Tyler's visit. Most couldn't help, but then I found Maria Santos, a night nurse who remembered everything. Your brother came in late, she told me over the phone, around 9 p.m., had this lawyer with him. I thought it was weird, bringing legal papers to a dying man. Did you overhear anything? Your grandfather seemed confused, kept asking for you. Your brother told him you were too busy to visit. My hands clenched into fists. That's a lie. I was there every day I could be. I figured as much. Your grandfather talked about you all the time, called you his legacy. Would you be willing to testify about what you saw? Absolutely. What your brother did was wrong. I had witnesses, I had medical evidence, but I needed something more concrete. That's when I remembered the hospital's security system. It took 3 days and a formal legal request, but Bill managed to get the footage from Tyler's visit. We watched it together in his office. The timestamp showed 9:17 p.m. on a Tuesday night. There was Tyler walking down the hospital corridor with a man in an expensive suit. They carried briefcases and looked like they were heading into battle. That's Marcus Webb, Bill said, pointing at the Laurier. Biggest shark in the city, specializes in contested wills. Interesting choice for simple estate planning. We watched Tyler and Webb enter Grandpa's room. They stayed for 47 minutes. That's a long time for a friendly visit, Bill observed. But the real smoking gun came from the audio. The hospital system had picked up voices in the hallway after they left. Tyler's voice was clear. The old man signed everything. Jake will never know what hit him. Webb's response was quieter but audible. Just remember, if anyone asks, this was his idea. Bill and I looked at each other. Got him, I whispered. The next morning I called Tyler. My hands were steady now, my voice was calm. Hey brother, how's the lake house planning going? Jake, good to hear from you. I'm actually heading up there this weekend to assess what needs fixing. The irony was perfect. Tyler, who couldn't change a light bulb, assessing repairs. Mind if I tag along, for old time's sake? Tyler hesitated. I don't know if that's a good idea. Might be emotional for you. I can handle it. Besides, I know that place better than anyone. I could help you figure out what needs work. Another pause. Okay, sure. Meet me there Saturday morning. Looking forward to it. I hung up and called Bill. It's time. Saturday morning was crisp and clear. Perfect lake weather. I arrived at the house 30 minutes early and sat on the dock where Grandpa and I used to fish. The place looked exactly the same. Weathered cedar siding, green metal roof. The tire swings still hung from the old oak tree. Tyler pulled up in his BMW at exactly 10 a.m., always punctual when it suited him. Morning, Jake. Beautiful day. Gorgeous. Grandpa always said this place was heaven on earth. Something flickered across Tyler's face. Guilt, maybe, or just annoyance. We walked through the house together. Tyler made notes on his phone, probably calculating square footage and market value. You know, I said, standing in the living room where Grandpa's chair still sat by the fireplace, I found something interesting this week. Oh yeah? What's that? I pulled out my phone. Hospital security footage from the night you visited Grandpa with that lawyer. Tyler went very still. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. Marcus Webb, right? Big-time will contest specialist. Interesting choice for simple estate planning. Jake, I think you're confused. I played the audio clip. Tyler's voice filled the room. The old man signed everything. Jake will never know what hit him. The color drained from Tyler's face. You manipulated a dying man, I said quietly. You took advantage of someone who loved you. You don't understand. I needed that money. The business is failing. I'm about to lose everything. There it was, the truth finally coming out. So you decided to steal my inheritance instead. It's not stealing if it's legal. Fraud isn't legal, Tyler. Neither is elder abuse. Tyler sank into Grandpa's chair. For the first time in my life, he looked small, defeated. What do you want? He whispered. I want what Grandpa promised me, this house, and I want you to admit what you did. I can't. If this comes out, I'll go to prison. Maybe you should have thought of that before you decided to rob your own family. Tyler looked around the room, at the photos on the mantle, at the fishing rods in the corner. At the chess set where Grandpa taught me strategy. He really did love you more, Tyler said finally. No, he loved us both. But I was the one who showed up. I was the one who listened to his stories. I was the one who cared about this place for what it was, not what it was worth. Tyler's shoulders started shaking. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. I'm sorry, Jake. I'm so sorry. I was desperate. Desperation doesn't excuse betrayal. I pulled out a document Bill had prepared. Sign this. It transfers the house back to me. In exchange, I won't press charges. Tyler read through the papers with trembling hands. If I sign this, I lose everything anyway. The house was supposed to be collateral for my business loans. You should have thought of that before you stole it. Tyler looked up at me. What if I don't sign? Then I file criminal charges Monday morning. Fraud, elder abuse, conspiracy. Marcus Webb is already lawyering up, by the way. Seems he doesn't want to go down with you. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Finally, Tyler picked up the pen. He signed his name with the same flourish he'd used on birthday cards when we were kids. There, he said, are you happy now? I folded the document and put it in my jacket pocket. I'm not happy, Tyler. I'm heartbroken. We're brothers. This should never have happened. Brothers, Tyler laughed bitterly. Right. Well, congratulations, Jake. You win. This isn't about winning. It's about doing what's right. Tyler stood up and walked toward the door. At the threshold, he turned back. You know what the funny thing is? I actually convinced myself I deserved it. That Grandpa would have wanted me to have it if he'd really understood the situation. But you knew better. Yeah, I knew better. After Tyler left, I sat in Grandpa's chair for a long time. The house felt peaceful again, like it was breathing normally for the first time in months. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Tyler told me what happened. I'm proud of you for doing the right thing. Then another text from Bill. Document is filed. The house is officially yours. Congratulations. I walked out onto the deck and looked across the lake. The water was mirror smooth, reflecting the mountains and sky. We did it, Grandpa, I said to the wind. We got our house back. A fish jumped near the shore, sending ripples across the perfect surface. I smiled and went inside to start making the place feel like home again. That evening, I called my buddy Marcus from work. Hey, want to help me move some furniture this weekend? I just inherited a lake house. Seriously, that's awesome, man. What's the catch? No catch, just need to fix a few things that got broken along the way. I'm in. Beer and lake house repairs? Sounds perfect. As the sun set over the water, I sat on the dock with a beer and thought about family, about trust, about the difference between what we deserve and what we earn. Tyler had wanted the easy way out. He'd seen dollar signs where I saw memories. But Grandpa had been right all along. The house belonged with someone who understood its real value. My phone rang, unknown number. Hello? Jake, it's Tyler. I almost hung up. What do you want? I wanted you to know I'm getting help, therapy, and I'm going to pay back the business loans somehow, without the house. Good for you. And Jake, I really am sorry for all of it. I watched a loon dive beneath the surface of the lake. I know you are, Tyler. Do you think someday we might be able to fix this? I thought about Grandpa, about forgiveness, about second chances. Maybe, but it's going to take time. I understand. I just wanted you to know I'm going to try to be better. After we hung up, I sat in the gathering darkness and listened to the water lap against the dock. Tomorrow, I'd start fixing the loose boards on the deck. Next week, I'd repaint the shutters. Over the summer, I'd rebuild the treehouse that was starting to sag. This place had been broken, just like my family, but broken things could be repaired if you cared enough to do the work. I pulled out my phone and took a picture of the sunset over the lake. Then I posted it with a simple caption, Home. Within minutes, the likes and comments started pouring in. Friends, coworkers, even some distant relatives. But the comment that mattered most came from Mom. Grandpa would be so proud. As the stars came out over Lake Tahoe, I made myself a promise. This house would be what Grandpa always intended it to be, a place where family came together, where stories were told, where love was stronger than greed. And someday, when I was old and gray, I'd pass it on to someone who understood what it really meant. Someone who would fight for it the way I had. Someone who knew that the best inheritances aren't measured in dollars, but in the memories we create, in the principles we refuse to compromise. The lake house was home again. And this time, it was going to stay that way.